Hi folks, and welcome to Schick Happens. In today's episode, I'm going to talk about getting old. Now, I know to some of you, I'm a young pup. Maybe to a bunch of others, I'm an old man. It's all subjective, really. The age thing. I guess you're as young as you feel. And let me tell you, in about 6 months, I'm going to hit 50. And I feel it. I remember many years ago when my parents would drop us off at our grandparents and my grandfather would take a nap. I can never figure that out. And then down the road, as I got older, my dad did the same thing. We'd take a nap in the afternoon. And I told myself, that's never going to be me. I'm not going to fitter away time by taking naps. And then just today, a couple hours ago, I took a 45-minute nap in the couch. I think they were onto something. Now, as each year goes by, I can feel my body start to slow down a little bit. I got aches and pains in places I didn't even know existed. But that's just part of life. But I accept that. And there are some perks to getting a little bit older. You know, I'm getting this much closer to retirement where I can enjoy myself. And pretty soon, I mean, it's a few years down the road, but I'll start being able to qualify for some of those senior discounts. I used to get mad when I'd get those AARP envelopes in the mail. Last week I found myself opening one and reading the content. How bad is that? Another thing I've noticed as I've gotten older is things that used to really irritate me don't anymore. But the trade-off to that is the things that I wouldn't even bat an eye at, that never bothered me a bit, get under my skin now. I'm not going to go into examples, but I'm sure a lot of you can relate. One thing I have noticed glaringly as I got older is how fast time goes by. 20 years ago, the days just used to drag. And it just seemed like it would take forever to get through a particular month. Fast forward to now, and the months just fly by. The days fly by, the weeks fly by. I don't know what it is. Except when I'm at work. For that 8-hour period, everything slows back down to what I've always been accustomed to. But then outside of work, bam, speeds right back up again. And speaking of work, I guess the one plus of getting older is you get that much closer to retirement. Now my wife and I, we don't go on elaborate vacations. We certainly don't purchase new vehicles every 3 years or even have the latest, greatest top of the model. We just don't care what we drive as long as it's dependable and it gets us to where we want to go. But that's by choice, and I'm not knocking anybody else for living any other kind of lifestyle, but I fully intend to retire long before I hit 60 years old. And for me to do that, I got to pinch and save, forego some vacations, forego new vehicles. We limit our time eating out and a whole host of other things. Because while I'm still young enough to enjoy this property, I want to be able to retire at an early age. I don't want to go till I'm 67. That's just not going to happen. Behind me here is one of the ladder stands that I have on the property. I probably have about 4 or 5 of these scattered throughout. And I've used them for quite a few years. But it seems like every other year I'm building a new box blind, whether it's slightly elevated off the ground or just sits in the ground. And that's by design, because as the older I get, I just don't want to climb these anymore. That's just my personal preference. Here in the next few years, I want to be able to, wherever I want to hunt on the property, have strategically placed box blinds that I built myself. I guess that just comes with getting older. I can tell you one big plus to getting older is you're less likely to care about the clothes you wear and your appearance. And for someone like me, it makes it a hell of a lot easier shopping for clothes. I can tell you that. You know, another thing that I've noticed as I've gotten older is, well, I'm certainly not any wiser or have any more wisdom, but I spend a lot of time afield. I have my whole life hunting and fishing, and I have noticed as I've gotten older that just being outdoors and watching the wildlife is becoming just as fun to me as harvesting that same wildlife. Now, don't get me wrong, I love filling the freezer full of game. I enjoy eating it, it's healthy, and that's why I do it. It helps supplement our grocery bill. It always has for years. But I can tell you that if I come in from a hunt and see game and don't harvest any, I'm a lot happier today than I would have been 20, 25 years ago. I just like being out there. Behind me here is a dozen or so dead ash trees along this ravine that I'm going to have to eventually take down. They're going to block my lane access, and it'll be good firewood. They're too far gone, I think, to mill anything out of them for good wood, but they're definitely going to have to come down. And a project like that is certainly something I wish I was 20, 25 years younger. But I'll get it done. Behind me here is a 30-foot ravine that goes up to the road, and then across the road is my house. Down here in this bottom ground is the 10 acres I have across the street. And for years that I lived here, it never bothered me walking up and down this ravine. Now it gives me fits with my knees and my hips a little bit. That kind of stinks getting a little bit older. But while I'm still capable, I need to get a set of steps built to get down here. Oh, and that's a little box blind. There's no roof or anything on it. It's just an observation blind, if you will. I put that in about 10 years ago. Well, I've probably rambled on here long enough. I didn't plan on doing this video. It was just something I wanted to talk about. Getting older. And there's nothing you can do about it. You just gotta roll with it and enjoy every day. I always go back to a Bugs Bunny cartoon where he once said, "Don't take life too seriously. You'll never get out of it alive." And even though that was a cartoon from 50, 60 years ago, it still rings true today. But anyway, thanks for joining me here today at Schick Happens. I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you do, hit that like button. And if you haven't already, please subscribe.